So, if Christmas and Easter are not actually Christian holidays, they're not actually biblical holidays, why do we in the church keep celebrating them? Was thinking about this and I came up with 3 reasons. Would love to hear your thoughts also on it. One, I've talked to a number of chaplains and pastors who, not specifically about the holidays, but just generally, who don't necessarily agree with everything that their denomination teaches. However, there's a lot of pressure on them to still teach and practice those things anyway, at least in public. Because they are representing the denomination, they're not representing God. So I think that is one of the reasons why we continue in certain traditions or things like that. The other reason is just generally, as people, we like tradition. We have fond memories of all of these things growing up, and we really like our traditions. And then the third is, I think we use Christmas and Easter as a means to evangelize. And I talked about this a little bit in a different video, but I think the problem with, okay, not the problem with that, but I just think that if we were to actually celebrate the biblical holidays, it would work even better as an evangelism tool. Because like Jesus rose from the dead on the Feast of First Fruits. If we were to celebrate the Feast of First Fruits, we could very easily talk about not only him rising from the dead, but also the history there and how God set it up for us to celebrate that, knowing that Jesus would rise again on that day. Rather than Easter, which has pagan roots and doesn't have a history, a Judeo history to it. So I don't know. I don't actually understand why we celebrate Easter and not the Feast of First Fruits. Other than it is very hard to move a huge ship. Like if you have your culture is going in this direction and everyone is celebrating this, atheists and Christians alike, but let's just focus on the atheists. All the atheists are already celebrating it, and that's just how the culture is. We could include Christians too, whatever. Yeah, it's just very hard to move a huge ship. So maybe that's part of it, is it would be really hard to transition from Easter to the Feast of First Fruits, potentially. And then also, if you have all the atheists celebrating Easter, then you kind of have an in. But the problem with that is by bringing Jesus into Christmas and into Easter, you can't do it without lying about the date of it. Like, we know that Jesus was probably born in the spring. And so to say he was born in the winter, we at least know he wasn't born in the winter. Some people think fall, some people think spring, but we know he wasn't born in the winter. So it just, it's just, I don't know how to celebrate it with, like, as Jesus' birthday without lying, if that makes sense. And then same with Easter. How do we celebrate the resurrection of Jesus on Easter without lying? Because it wasn't actually that day. I mean, at least then it's around the same time, so that's helpful. But anyway, so those are my thoughts on, even though Christmas and Easter aren't actually Christian holidays, why we still celebrate them. Would love to hear your thoughts also.